And welcome to Capital Talk, a program we hope will have an impact on the future of Kenya. Now, more than ever, I'm Jeff Kineng. Now, if you've been watching Capital Talk all this week, you know we are celebrating women, not just the best and the brightest, but the strength of a woman. And we've had a whole host of women on the bench this week, folks. But today, whoa, I want you to sit back. This woman, talk about guts, talk about making a move and sticking to it. That's right, because she started off in the corporate world. That's right. She was working for East Africa Standard, selling time, selling space, and then she worked for Colgate-Palmolive. Yes, corporate world, she thought this was her career. But one day, she turned away from it all. She walked away, started her own business. This was about 15 years ago. I tell you, the story is incredible. 15 years later, make that 14 because it was late last year, her company was named the top 100 of medium-sized companies. Top as in number one. We'll find out why. It's got a funny name, this company. I don't know why they came up with this name, but hey, it's their name, at least the initials. It's Professional Marketing Services. You get the initials, PMS. Why? She's barely in her 40s. Folks, this is a story you will be telling everybody. Sit back. We're on the bench with Joanne Mwangi.
Thank you very much.
Joanne, good to see you.
Great, great to be here.
Congratulations on all your successes.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It's very exciting. You introduced me and I feel very special. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, it's incredible. Did you know growing, I mean, look, you started off in the corporate world.
Yes, Jeff.
And life must have been great. I mean, you were earning good money and you thought, you know what, why not, why change horses midstream? But you walked away from a company like Colgate-Palmolive. Was that tough?
It was very tough, Jeff, because I think also the greatest advantage I had is that being young, you take huge risks. So I took a huge risk. And I really didn't know where I was going because I knew I wanted to start my own business, but I didn't know whether it was going to succeed. But part of the comfort was knowing that I could always dust off my CV and look for another job in case it failed. Yeah. But thank God it never got to that point, but it was tough. It's not easy to walk from a good job, and Colgate was a beautiful employer. I really loved working for them. They taught me professionalism, best practice, global best practice, and I learned what it is like to work to certain rigorous standards so that you maintain consistent quality continuously. So I'm very grateful for my years in the corporate world.
Yeah. I mentioned PMS, which, first of all, why PMS?
Frankly, Jeff, let me tell you what. We came up with the name Professional Marketing Services. And it never hit us that the acronym would be PMS. So after a while, everywhere we went and everybody would come up with PMS because, it's quite a mouthful, Professional Marketing Services. We would say PMS and they'd then bust out laughing. And then we realized, you know what? It makes it very easy for us to be remembered. And it's also something that is a conversation starter. So we might as well just continue being PMS. So as we've grown and opened up new companies, we call ourselves a PMS group because then you can remember us very easily.
When they called your name out at the top 100s late last year, what was that like? I mean, obviously you had entered, you knew everywhere, all the 100 were there, right? The top 100.
We were.
But you didn't know where you lay or who was what. When they called your name as number one, how did that feel?
Frankly, Jeff, let me tell you what happened. They count down from 100. So they start with number 100, 99. So you can imagine by the time they're getting to the top 10, you already are getting to a point where you're jittery. Yeah? So when it got to top 5, we panicked. Because sitting down with my team, we all said, you know what? We need to check with admin whether they actually delivered these documents because it's not possible for us to be in top 5.
Maybe we're not in here.
maybe we've been missed out, And then they called out the award for the best in the service industry. So we all went very excited. We got our award for best in the service industry. And we thought that was it. Yeah. So we went to take our photos. And as we were sitting there, I got people dragging me and telling me, you're being called. And I was like, for what? Then I went and they said, oh, you've won the award also for best woman entrepreneur, top woman entrepreneur. So I received that and I was, oh my goodness, these are 2 awards. I'm so excited. And so we went and sat down and us guys, basically, we were popping champagne. We were so busy celebrating.
Yeah, you could have left right then.
We could have left. We were happy. We were delirious, And then suddenly they say, and now we need to call the top 100 winner, pinnacle winner, and it's Professional Marketing Services. Jeff, you should just see the footage. I was screaming, I was shouting, I was jumping. I was so excited because it was beyond my dreams. It was totally unexpected, but also very, very thrilling because let me tell you, Jeff, when you're an entrepreneur, one of the hardest things is that you have to keep yourself motivated. Nobody ever pats you on the back because who's there to pat you on the back? You're your own boss. So, hey, you tell yourself, well done. And after a while, you sort of are so busy telling your team, well done, well done. No one tells you well done. So for KPMG and NMG to come and tell me well done, and over and above that to tell me you're the best so far in the medium size, my gosh, I have no words.
And you know, Joanne, let's tell the viewers right now, this was not an overnight success, because when you left Colgate-Palmolive and started your own business, you were one person.
Jeff,
employee of one.
I think that's what people forget. A lot of people see me today and look at me, you know, in the corporate world now where my business is doing all right, and they sort of imagine that I just woke up and my business just worked. That's not the story. The story is that when I started my business, I used to turn up in the office. It was a one-man show, and when I say one man, I mean one. I would turn up, I would wipe the tables, I would open the door myself, I would wipe the floor myself, I would take my letters to deliver myself, and then I would sit down in my corporate suit and become the CEO after doing all that. And it took me 2 whole months to realize that it was smarter for me to employ a messenger and cheaper than for me to lock the office, leave the phone on voicemail, and then drive all the way to industrial area perhaps to deliver a letter. So it took me 2 months to learn that. So in business, you really have to start from very humble beginnings and grow slowly. And that means that you grow first and foremost your resilience. And secondly, when you make mistakes, they're not very expensive because they're small. Because right now, if I make a mistake, it could shut down my business because you're dealing with big volumes. But when you're smaller, you can afford the mistakes as you're learning. But I can tell you, Jeff, I always say the best people in the world to admire and to emulate and to build up is the women entrepreneurs, the men entrepreneurs, the young entrepreneurs, because the future of this country is in entrepreneurship.
We need to celebrate them more, don't we?
We need to celebrate them more because they're the people creating jobs. In my life, Jeff, I think I've employed at any, you know, the complete range of people who I've employed, there'd be more than 25,000 by now. Wow. Because every year, I'm employing new people. I bring in the young girls. They have no idea what they're doing, young girls and boys. I train them. I give them industrial training. I take them out into the field. They get the experience. And by the time they're leaving me to go work elsewhere, they've got experience. And they get better jobs simply by having said they work for professional marketing services because my reputation is known. I'm very rigorous. Professionalism is key and consistency in service. So when I work with people, I teach them how to, you know, the systems, the processes, and that never leaves you. I learned it from Colgate.
And it's